there's been a lot of progress on LGBT issues in Massachusetts in the last 5 years, as I think we all know and have been enjoying. But I just want to ask folks, what's still left to do, and how can people who are here today help make that happen?
Sure. I think for me, I'll leave the policy stuff to you all. But I think one of the most important things that I think we kind of forget about is the effect that you have by living your life openly and honestly. If you can be open and out and, let your gay flag hang, then please do so, because you don't realize how many people that touches. So that's sort of the first thing for me, because I think we can change as many laws as we want to, and we can kind of implement all of these structural things, but the cultural change is the really difficult part. And I find that people really begin to expand their thinking once they realize that this issue touches them. So if they know that they have a gay friend, neighbor, brother, sister, it opens up a place in their mind to begin to think about these issues. So, don't underestimate the fact that you just being out and open with your life is making a huge, incredible difference. Raise your hands.
And just to tag off of exactly what Katherine says, as an ally, as a sister of, as a citizen, if you are not part of the LGBT community and you are an ally, same thing. You need to just live your life in support, live your life openly. It's big and easy at the same time. Just move through your life openly and with acceptance and with love, and the same. That will make big change by doing something very small.
Okay. Yeah, we've been taking notes in the corner. So, in terms of policy, the biggest thing that I know that I've been focusing on the past couple of years, and a lot of people I work with are focusing on, is the Transgender Equal Rights Bill. Because coming as someone who identifies as a transgender man, it's really frustrating knowing that I don't have the same rights as the people I love. And it's really frustrating for the people I love to know that I don't have the same opportunities as they do. And I have discussions with my brothers on a regular, I have 2 older brothers who are phenomenally accepting to me and the biggest supporters of my life. And I've actually sat down on multiple occasions with one of them and had discussions about how different my life is because I'm transgender, because I don't have the same rights as that I should be guaranteed being born an American citizen. And we've had this discussion on multiple points about how until we pass this bill, I will never have the same rights as him, and it's really frustrating. So that's the biggest thing we need to do. And then another thing that really I find is don't underestimate the power of youth voices. We're the future of this movement, we're the future of this world, and the youth I know are the most well-spoken and amazing people that you will ever meet, and if you sit down and listen to their stories, you will be phenomenally amazed at the experiences that we've had and the amount of work that these youth do, and working on the trans rights bill and marching in all these rallies and standing side by side with the adults, and they don't get the same voice because we're younger and people assume that we don't know what we're speaking about. But we do trainings, we do activism work, we do Speakers Bureau trainings, and we work so hard trying to get our voices heard because we are the next step. And we do have to move things forward.
Keep this short. Okay, all right. So we might go back and forth a little bit. So yeah, like Logan was saying, supporting youth leadership is really important. We've had lots of conversations about the It Gets Better campaign, and we actually find more comfort in the Make It Better campaign, which actually is empowering young people to make changes in their own communities, in their schools, and not necessarily assuming that it'll kind of magically when you leave high school, assuming that you graduate, assuming that you go to college, assuming that you can move out of the small town you're in or move away from your family that doesn't accept you, that things will get magically better, because a lot of us know that that is not necessarily true. So I'm encouraging people to make changes in their communities, because we do it on multiple issues, and LGBT issues should be no different. Also, sorry, the power of media, like Katherine was saying, I took a note on that. I think it's really important. We, at the dinner last night, and I'm sure all of you here today, have contacts, work in media, maybe work with people who are teachers, work with people who are social workers, have friends, use the power of media, use your connections, networking like you would for anything else. You know someone who's a social worker, have that conversation. The personal stories are really important. Say that you think, oh, what did you do this weekend? Like, oh, I went to this panel and there were these awesome young people, da-da-da-da-da, you know? So having that conversation, last night we met someone who was talking about a friend of theirs who's a parent, and their kid is trans, and they're having a really hard time with it. And what I just told her was, as long as you're having that conversation with them, you're telling her that, oh, I went to this thing and Logan Ferraro spoke and he was so great, you don't have to worry, you know, your kid can be just as awesome as any other kid, you know, and it's about kind of making it real to people and letting people know that they know people who are trans, they know people who are gay, and that function well and that are awesome, because we are. And then also, like Sarah was saying with allies, I think it's super important not only to support our allies and let them know that they're valued, not that they can set our agendas and not that they can take over the movement, but that they need to be a part of it and they need to stand beside us. But also for us to ally with other groups, like, I'm sure Father said that last night, yeah. That was great, like we need to stand with other people so that when the time comes for them to stand with us, they can say we were there for them, which is really important.
And then the last thing that we had talked about is something that, forgive us that we work in nonprofit and we always plug this, but donating to nonprofits and working with organizations, like the Boston community has the most amazing GLBT youth organizations that I have ever seen. Bagley is in our 32nd year of existence, and we are one of the oldest. We are one of, if not the oldest, youth-run, adult-supported LGBT youth group in the country. We have Boston Glass, which is the gay and lesbian adolescent social services group, which is a phenomenal group that meets on 5 days a week, right? Yeah. They meet 5 days a week right up the street on Mass Ave. We have Map for Health, Massachusetts Asian Pacific Islanders group, which meets, I think, like 3 or 4 days a week, depending on the week, which is a really awesome organization. We have True Colors Out Youth Theater, which is a GLBT youth theater program that pays youth to tell their story. They're one of the 3 GLBT youth theater groups in the country. And they actually brought the 2 other in the country to Boston to get our youth together and to progress this movement and progress the work we do. And there are all these organizations that if you want to get involved, you can. You can search us out online, you can become an adult advisor at Bagley, become a donor, chaperone our dances. Just get involved and see what these youth have to offer, because I spend every Wednesday night with all of these youth, and they are phenomenal, amazing people who can teach everyone so much. And I learn something every week I go to Bagley.
Also, sorry, I think a lot of times, again with the ally, I think it's really important for us as young people to have adults as allies who, again, value our stories. And with Katherine's story, I think it's really profound that even with such an accepting family, even kind of knowing like, oh, it's not going to be a big deal, it was tough. Like, it was still a struggle. And I think that it's important to know that even with such an awesome family, it was still difficult. So imagine how difficult it is for other people whose family, who don't know what their families will respond like, or who think that they will have a negative response. So I think it's really important to know that in 2011, it is much easier, it is much better, it is, you know, a more open environment to have representation in the media, but it is still difficult.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, Katherine and Sarah and Logan and Daunasia.